Even before COVID restrictions threw a wrench into college visitations, there were many questions from parents about when should we make visits to prospective colleges. I have two answers. The most salient one is after you've received a strong ACT or SAT score or a credential that puts you in the running for admission. And for students who studied for ACT, SAT in the summer before junior year and tested successfully in the summer, those visits could be as early as September. Now, for most students, it'll be later in the junior year, mid-October until mid-May. Why not late May? That's because colleges are ending up in late May. And students, even for colleges that finish in June, are gearing up for finals. This is what you want to avoid. You want to see colleges in the middle of a term, not in the first few days, not in the last 2 weeks when students are frenzied, where sometimes their extracurricular activities have ended so that they could get back to the books. Realistic times, therefore, are the meat of college times. That means not Christmas time. You're going to see a desolate campus. It means not early January, when even though some campuses are back, they're often these optional, not fully back to the regular regime. And again, we don't want to do this during finals time in 2 weeks before the ending of a school. Students should also be concerned about their own high school schedules so that your visits aren't taking you away from important activities in school. That may mean you're limited to a February vacation or an April vacation, and I think both are good. I happen to like February as one time if your student is considering a cold place for the next 4 years. You have in mind Carleton in Minnesota, or Clarkson up in upstate New York, or one of the main campuses. Go there in February. Make sure that you can handle 4 hours there because you're about to spend 4 years there. Otherwise, make sure it coincides with a robust time on campus, but not a frenzied, secluded into finals time, and having your own high school agenda not impeded. So what about summer? Why not go in July? That's because campus life in the summer is unrealistic of what you will do for the 4 years of real study. Now, even colleges that have real classes, my alma mater is one of them. They actually have 4 credit classes in the summer. But kids take 2 classes during that time. They walk into class in their bathing suits at times. They're hanging out. It is not a good way to compare. All campuses look like La La Land in the summer. Use the core of the time, and that's going to require some planning. Now, the SAT score, even at a test-optional college, is still your best gauge of whether you realistically have a decent chance at admission. And traveling far and wide, I think you have to have planning. You can't be at 200 campuses. So I again suggest that you take realistic assessment based on an ACT or SAT, or if you have a 4.0 or a hair under, meaning a perfect GPA or GPA with a single blemish, yes, that puts you in the running at any university. But few students have that lofty GPA. So SAT would be a very good gauge, or possibly if your high school sends many applicants each year to a certain college, their track record for admission or denials can help you gauge what your chances are by comparison. How many colleges do you visit? Enough to get a sense of whether you like urban, suburban, rural. And probably I suggest enough college visits to do it based on large, mid-size, or small. So you have 3x3 axes in a way, and that gives you 9 categories of college. you can possibly eliminate one or two of those categories right off the bat. I'm not going far away to a rural place. Okay, but a lot of categories might be in play. Figure that out before getting on a plane to a place that in the end will not be your number one choice. As for getting on a plane at all, I think you can assess rural, suburban, urban locally. You can certainly assess large, medium, small locally. So that sentiment that you'll gear up without traveling more than 5 hours by car is enough at this stage to make applications even to far-flung campuses that are a plane flight or more away. You can do research on those campuses that you haven't visited so that you can still make strong, persuasive applications. COVID restrictions actually have helped kids in this regard because for 2 years, campuses have been keeping kids away. And thus, I actually think it's a good development that almost nobody uses demonstrated interest anymore that includes campus visits. Demonstrated interest used to be what almost compelled kids to make long trips to college lest they be denied based on not showing enough interest in the campus. Now you can use interest in plenty of other ways. The internet is your oyster. Picking up the phone and calling recent alums or upperclassmen and asking about strengths and maybe weaknesses of the campus that they just graduated from. Those are very helpful to make a choice in the first place and then ultimately put together a really good application. I hope this has been helpful. I have one last statement, but I'll save it for another video.